Player manager ratings.
Music, please. Okay, segment time.
Right, go on then, Lee. Right, we're gonna. Are you gonna do it, Jamal?
Lee with the. Let's start with the keepers.
Okay. All right, now we're gonna start with the goalkeepers. So first one, we're gonna start with Mr. Leno. All right, so for me, I'm gonna give Mr. Leno 9.5 for the season. He's been our saviour. I think he's been our second best player. Yes, there's been one or two blunders, but he's saved us more times than he's cost us. So Bernd Leno, for me, is getting 9.5. Jamal?
I think. I think I agree with you. I'll give him a 9. I think without Leno, we would probably finish bottom half. That's how important he is.
Hell yeah.
He's that important, because he's for me, he's arguably the best goalkeeper in the league.
To the mic.
Yep. So I would give him a 9. Because I think he's outstanding. We're very lucky to have the two best goalkeepers as a pair in the league. So I'll give him a 9. How about you, Gabs?
Me, I will give Bernd Leno a 9. I'll give Bernd Leno a 9. Again, he's been outstanding for us. Great shot stopper. Keeping it, he's been a busy goalkeeper.
Yes.
He's been a busy boy in goal before Arteta came.
Yeah.
Shots were being rained on him. We'd have been hammered in some of those games if it wasn't for him. But when Arteta came, it's just popped into my head, and I was thinking, man, I remember this guy making save after save after save after save.
Yeah.
But then Arteta came and tightened up the back line, and he's had a bit more of a relaxing time in goal. Yeah,
absolutely.
He's had a bit more of a smoke on, but yeah, for me, he's been a phenomenal buy.
Yeah.
We know Bayern Munich and all these guys will be keeping tabs on him. So we need to keep him happy and start winning trophies with this guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because if we don't, we know people are going to come up and start trying to strong arm us like they usually do. So yeah, me, I give Bernd 9.
9.
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so on to
the man of the hour.
The man of the hour, Mr. Velcro Hands himself.
Yes.
Shot stopper.
Extraordinaire.
Commander. Brilliant with his feet.
Commander of the Red Army.
Mr. Distribution.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Martinez. My goodness. The superlatives. I close my eyes when I say this. My goodness. This man. I'm so happy for him. And to, learn and discover, his background and, being at the club for 10 years.
10
and
years, yeah.
Before that, the poverty, the environment he was living in. Man, this guy, I'm giving him a 10. I'm giving this guy a 10. And he was a late introduction. When people, when Leno got injured and people were fearing the worst, this man, listen, 10 for me, straight.
Excellent.
Over to you.
I'll give him a 9. Because it's very rare to see not just a keeper, a player who's constantly been 10 years of being loaned out. It's a long time. And still at the club, still working hard, still grafting.
Quietly
waiting for his shot.
No complaining.
No groaning.
Yeah. He played in all kinds of competitions, cup games, again being loaned out, brought back. And grabbing his chance with both hands.
Mm-hmm.
And, his shot stopping, his distribution, it's world class performances. You can't argue against that.
Nope.
So I see why you gave him a 10.
He brought the cup home.
Yes. The only reason why I gave him a 9 is that Leno's contribution to the season was that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been outstanding, you know, and for the way you see it, his emotions come out after the final, that was just, you know, that was so good to see.
So you gave him what, a 9?
9, a solid 9.
Yeah, I give Martinez a 9.5. I give him a half a mark more than Leno, just simply because he stepped in at a crucial point of the season where it could have gone horribly wrong if he was of Almunia levels or Fabianski levels. It could have gone tragically and terribly wrong, and we'd be having a very different conversation.
Absolutely.
So for me, just looking at the way he would just come in and the saves he would make, saves and the ball would just stop dead. You know, you'd be worried about, a hard shot's coming. Is he going to parry it? Is it going to drop to the incoming striker? And the ball would just be dropped dead in its tracks. And that was that. And then after a while, you just got used to it. It was like, okay, there's a shot coming in. I know my man's got this.
And he's commanding.
And then the confidence translates into your defensive line.
Yeah.
And then they become confident because they're not now having to worry about what's going on behind them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then his him winning the FA Cup after, like you say, 10 years at the club was, as we all saw, was very emotional for him. And I truly hope the club can convince him to stay. For me, he keeps the number 1 jersey going into next season, and it's up to Leno to take it off of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how it should work. And I think that's what Mikel Arteta will do.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then that will generate fair competition. There's no, well, Leno's back, go and take a seat now.
Yeah.
I think the only fair way to do it is you've played so well, you keep it. Bernd, if you want this jersey, he's going to throw it away. And then when you get back in, you have to keep it. And then that way there's no complaints.
Yeah.
You know, we have to keep 2 top draw keepers at the club.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be an injury at some point.
Simple. Again. Yeah. It's true.
So 9.5 for me.
9.5, excellent.
Now we move on to the defenders.
Yes.
And the first name up is Hector Bellerin. For me, I'm sorry, but I thought that Hector Bellerin's season has been poor. Yeah, you could talk about the FA Cup and how, you know, good he was there, but I'm going over the course of a season.
Over the course of the season, yeah.
And I think Hector Bellerin was poor. He offered nothing going forward. Couldn't cross his fingers. He offered nothing going back. His pace. He looked like the $6 million man. Steve Austin.
For all you youngsters out there, the $6 million man was...
Just YouTube it.
Just YouTube him. Some guy used to run in slow motion.
Dum, 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 dum. Yeah. Him. Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Lee Majors played him. Look it up. Anyway, he was running like the $6 million man when it came to running back and trying to defend. Everyone would steal a march on him. So for me, Hector Bellerin gets a 6, and I'm being generous. Over to you, Jamal.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 as well, because it's just he used to be the first man on the sheet, right? That right back was him. There was no competition.
One of them.
Yeah. So ever since the injury, the pace is gone. He's shown signs of coming back in the last few games, where his performances, he's creeping back up to that level, but still he relies, a lot of his game is about that pace. That gets him out of trouble.
He had a bad injury.
And if you haven't got pace,
then
I will give him that. He had a bad injury.
So I still have faith in him. The last few games, he's shown, especially in that final, he's shown a bit of energy and passion and that verve that he used to have.
Why is that?
Because there's a final up for grabs.
His
and
place is
because
under
Arteta-
threat, you mean?
He's under threat, but also we have to give credit to the manager
Mm-hmm.
for improving his game. So yeah, I think 6 is just about fair because overall, he had problems, he had setbacks. He came from an injury, he had a setback. So we have to include that also. But yeah, I'm objectively over the season. Yeah, I think about 5.5, 6. Yeah.
Well, here comes Mr. Nasty.
Dum dum
There
dum.
he comes. Cloak.
Ah,
The dagger is out.
Doctor Evil.
Yeah, here I come.
Over to you, Gabes.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with Bellerin's season at all. I'm going to give Bellerin a 5.5.
That's generous. That's good.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 being average, but he did win us the FA Cup, so he gets half a mark extra for that.
And he had a good game.
Yeah, and he had a good game. If it wasn't for his barnstorming run,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have got that.
And the
that
goal
break.
at Chelsea.
Yeah, so that was worth half a point for me. So I'll give him 5.5. I think he's, for me, with players who rely on pace too much, there always comes a time where you may get an injury and your pace doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And that's when you get exposed. So I hope that he does regain his pace while he's at the club. I hope he does, get back to the levels he was at before he suffered that injury, because he was flying before he got that injury.
Yeah.
And he hasn't come back anywhere near that level of performance.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's why I'm giving him, if he was at that level, it'd be a lot higher, but he hasn't come back anywhere near that, and it's been quite disappointing to see. And I can understand why the club went out and got Cedric. They needed the big competition, which I think, like you guys said, was the main reason why he bucked up his ideas. All of a sudden, there's somebody else who's, looking at taking his position, and he's got to buck up his ideas. So 5.5 for me.
Yeah. That's generous.
I wasn't that dastardly. I wasn't that dastardly after all. Then
I thought you was going to do a Lord Vader.
I was expecting a few grenades launched somewhere.
Lord Vader, I beg of you.
maybe he says, "Well, there'll be a few of them coming later."
I think you forgot your dagger today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, so the next defender is, this defender. My goodness gracious me. What an introduction. What a transfer. This guy coming from, a boyhood club, leaving Scotland to come to the Arsenal. Kieran Tierney. My goodness, Mr. Consistency. My goodness. So many superlatives. I'm going to keep this nice, short and brief. Me, Kieran Tierney, you get a 9.5. Hands down. You've just been so consistent. Your game management, your awareness. You've just been a top performer in a poor side. And, he struggled, just keep it brief. He struggled with an injury that kept him out. And he's just hit the ground running, man. So 9.5. Tip my hat off to you, Kieran. Been brilliant.
Excellent.
Mo?
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. I think he had a really horrendous season with injuries. Never got going the first half of the season. But especially since June, I think he's been top class, He's been used in every role that he's been used in 3 different roles.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's
in
performed.
every role, there's that consistency that you talk about.
Yeah,
So
he's
there's
performed.
no job. There's none of the excuses where he's not a left, he's not a wing back, he's not a, where he's been used and how Arteta used him. He's producing the goods, and that's really encouraging. But also is the way he talks, the interviews, the way he carries himself, his positive nature.
And the carrier bag.
Yeah, so
Tesco's.
I'll give him, and that's Tesco. Yep, there's no Gucci bags here. Yeah, I'll give him an 8, a solid 8. You know.
Yeah, I give Tierney a 9.5. I like this guy from the very first minute he arrived at the club. I said to Lee very early on, there was a game, I can't remember which one it is now off the top of my head.
Notts Forest, I think.
Where, I can't remember, Bukayo Saka got tackled. And he was on his own. And the first person on the scene for a rumble was Kieran Tierney. And that is my kind of player. And that's what's been missing from Arsenal for a long time.
Back each other up.
Backing each other up. Players would get fouled and they'd be left hanging on their own to deal with 3 or 4 opposition players haranguing them and pointing fingers and pushing. Yeah. It's like that was never the Arsenal way. The Arsenal way is if you get tackled or fouled, your boys pile in.
Yeah.
And Tierney was there to back up Bukayo Saka. And the guy had just arrived at the club.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a captain. I said to you, I remember saying that man is going to be our captain.
That's a future captain. Yeah.
That is our future captain. And I'll say it right here now.
Yeah.
He will probably be our captain when we lift the Premier League trophy, because that man has all the attributes. Even the way he was having a go at Kolasinac at times.
I remember.
Which was quite laughable.
Anyone.
Yeah, he's afraid to have a go at, well, he's not afraid to have a go at people that if you're not doing your jobs. Kolasinac was doing something. I don't know what he was doing. And all I remember was Kieran Tierney was having a go at him. Kolasinac probably couldn't understand what the hell he was saying, but he knew it was aggressive.
Of course.
You know?
Of
he
course.
knew there was a lot of swear words in there, and he was being told off.
Fix up.
Yeah, fix up, look sharp. You're wearing the Arsenal shirt.
Yes.
And yeah, for me, Kieran Tierney gets a 9.5 because he's had an outstanding season in what's been a season of injuries and heartaches and stop and start. And at the end of it, he's come away with the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done to you, Kieran Tierney.
Well done, sir.
Done for you.
Well done. Next defender is Socrates. For me, I don't question his heart and his mentality, but sometimes his ability and sometimes his errors were costly, and hence why Arteta didn't feature him in as many games. You know, when we came back, we came back from the restart.
Yeah.
And he was surplus to requirements. What I would give Socrates, I do like him. However, I do think it's time to go. I will give him a generous 7. 7.
That's real generous.
7. I'll give him.
I don't know what he brings to the table. He's clumsy, he's slow, he's not great on the ball. He looks imposing, he's physical, he's big, but he's a mouse. He's not really, you know, if I was Harry Kane or Aguero, I'm not going to fear that man.
But they haven't been that successful against him.
He hasn't, since the project restart, he hasn't featured
But
at all.
before that, though.
So Arteta, he saw that. Before that, he was average. Even before that, can you think of any match where you say, oh,
But
Socrates
you would want
was the man of
him,
the...
sorry to cut you, but
Yeah.
you'd want him in place of Mustafi, Holding, to partner alongside David Luiz.
I have to agree with Arteta because he just moved him out of the team. Right? I think since has he actually played a game since the
Bit part in the FA
restart?
Cup.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Come on to waste time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's for the So I'll give him a very a 4.
You're stuttering.
A 4. Yeah, a 4.
Lord
Well,
Vader, I beg of you.
I thought about just for being, I don't know what am I going to give the extra? I thought about a 5.
That's harsh.
That's coming from me, Mr.
Yeah,
Harsh.
yeah, Mr. Dark Vader is calling me harsh, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
You've cut off his ear supply. You've killed him.
I'll be if he's in the club by next season, I'll be shocked.
I don't think he'll be here. But even still, based on this season, I think 4 is ruthless. But it is what it is, Jamal. If you think he's a 4, he's a 4.
Yeah, he's a 4. He's a 4.
I'm gonna give Socrates a 6. Oof. I thought he was just above average. I thought he played well at the start of the season in certain games. He scored in the FA Cup. You know, helped us on our road to Wembley. He's not the player who's going to take us forward. You know, his quality is not that we're going to build. We're going to move forward with him in it. But at the time he was here, whenever he played, he didn't let us down badly. He never let us down Mustafi badly. Yeah, he's not Kolasinac, and he never let us down Mustafi badly, but he was never good enough to say, he's a stalwart and look at those balls that he's playing.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because some of the balls, like, to go back to what I said earlier, some of the balls from defence into midfield from him were appalling. But, you know, he was a man who knew his limitations, and he wouldn't try anything fantastic. He'd pass the ball out to the right wing or to the right-handed defender, to the right back, and then he dropped back to receive it.
Yeah.
That was the extent of his football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and then he knew he was a defender. He was a robust defender. I never saw anybody turn him inside out.
No.
Yeah.
So I think a 4 from you is harsh, but to say it again. But I think I'm gonna give him a 6 because he wasn't that rubbish for me.
Man.
You know,
I'm calling you the Sith Lord now.
I'm not sentimental.
Okay. I just don't fancy the guy.
So
fair enough.
from number 4,
Yeah.
right? So we're going on to Rob Holding now.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, Rob Holding, I am a fan of his, but I don't think he's delivered enough. I know he's been hampered by injuries, but I don't think I've seen enough from Rob Holding. And I think him, just like Bellerin, due to their injury, they've lost out half a yard of pace. He wasn't pacey to begin with, but there's just certain things I'm seeing in his defensive game that I'm thinking, So maybe he may have to go out on loan or leave. But anyway, I will give Rob Holding a 6.5. Generous. The 0.5 is generous.
The 0.5 is for winning the FA Cup.
For winning the FA Cup. His second FA Cup medal.
Yeah, he's not done too badly.
Yeah, I think.
How many players could say that?
Yeah, I think I'm along the same. I think I'll give him a 7.
Oh.
I'll give him a 7 because considering the injury problems that he had, the lack of game time, he couldn't get into the side, played his way back into the side, finished the season strong. And I think those issues about, the injury and the fitness, I think that hopefully that will clear up by next season.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see him fit and playing for a full season. Because I think he's one of those players that Arteta really likes, and his attitude also. It's really good. So I'll give him a 7. Yeah. How about you, Gabs?
Holding. For me, I will give Holding a 6.5. Been a fairly steady Eddie season. Nothing spectacular. Nothing too untowards. Is he the future of the club? The way you're saying it, giving him a season, there's nothing to say. When you're looking at the top teams, and that's where we're aiming to move towards, I just can't see it. Top defenders have all-round great games, whether it's
Yeah.
defending, whether they got pace, whether they're strong, whether they're good in the air, and more importantly, they're
Yeah.
passing. And, you know, that for me is what lets Rob Holding down is his passing,
Yeah.
which again, you know, to say passing out from defence was heart-stopping at times. You know, what Arteta wants us to do, you know, we were in fear of, is the ball going to break down and they're going to be straight onto into our penalty box. But his season as a whole, yeah, I'm going to give Rob Holding a 6.5.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yep. So the next defender is Cedric, a new
Suarez.
addition. A lot of people raised eyebrows at this transfer. A lot of people were like, oh, why are we getting someone who's not even wanted by Southampton? Last year, you know, didn't even offer him a contract. Cedric, you know, hit the ground running with that goal against Norwich. I like him. But I can't rate him too highly. I can't give him too much of a...
All right, based
A
on
high
based
rating.
on what
But
what
what-
you've seen so far, then
Yeah. So based on what I've seen so far, I'll give him a 6.5. Sorry, a 6.5.
I think that's completely fair. I would also I would give him a 6 because, like a true Arsenal signing, you know, it was an injury laden intro to North London,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird. Every player that we sign gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing in the backroom staff? I'll be honest, I haven't seen. He's a difficult player to judge. So from what I've seen, he looks like a backup. He looks like a steady Eddie. I don't think he's good enough to cement a first team right back slot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's maybe the type of player that you need. If your main man gets injured, he would come in and he wouldn't and he wouldn't melt down under pressure. So I think I would give him a 6. I want to see him how he performs, you know, under pressure when the season starts, like game after game after game.
Yeah.
And then we would actually know his real quality and his real attributes. So I'll give him a 6.
yeah, I've been quietly impressed with him. But like the two of you, haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give him above average 6.
Moving on. Okay, so the next defender is Shkodran Mustafi. All right, so
Stiffy.
Mustafi. I think, you know, we're all unanimous in decision. At the beginning of the season,
He was terrible.
we wanted to lynch him. The lynch mob was out after Mustafi. Mr. Calamity.
Yeah.
My goodness gracious me. We wanted him out in the January window. You know, we tried to hand him out, and this guy wouldn't leave. But then the arrival of Mikel Arteta, and this man has been a revelation. Like Gabe's pointed out earlier on in the show, we were panicking.
Yeah.
Mustafi's going to miss the FA Cup final. What do we do?
Yeah.
Right, so my rating is 7.5. Reason why it's not higher, because of his first half performances of the season. But he came back so strong. And man, last note, this guy can leap like a salmon. The man wins headers. And he doesn't look like a player that can, you know, win headers. But this guy, even when I've gone to see him live, I'm thinking, how are you winning these headers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mustafi, kudos to you, my friend. Well done for recovery.
And what's your score?
I gave him 7.5.
7.5. I would give him. I was really impressed with him. I would give him an 8 from being exiled completely. You know, he wasn't in the picture. You know, we were all talking about when we're going to sell him. Are we going to recoup some of the money
How
back?
are we going to kill him?
How are we going to... Yeah, how are we going to... There were people looking for him. So I think he... I don't know what Arteta has done. I don't know what he put in his beans. I don't know. But there's transformation there. You know, he upped his game. He's heading every ball, getting to every... There's still some mistakes there, you know, that needs to be ironed out. But honestly, I felt sorry for him that he missed the final because he deserved to be included in that team. So I'll give him an 8. Excellent.
Yeah,
and fans before lockdown were chanting his name, which is like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'll give Mustafi 8. I was quite impressed with his recovery from the trials and tribulations that his self-made or self-inflicted trials and tribulations that he's had to deal with. But Mikel Arteta's come in and just told him, listen, cut out that nonsense.
Yeah.
There's a footballer in there somewhere.
You're
just
German,
keep things
You are a
simple.
German international, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, he was trying to do some things sometimes that were beyond his capabilities, like these cross-field passes that were, you know, that never ever reached their target. And these passes, again, from the defence into midfield that were, you know, I could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to break
But you're not
lines,
Van Dijk.
but he just didn't have the capabilities, or they were intercepted.
Yeah.
But his recovery, and I was head in hands when he got injured in the FA Cup. I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Who's going to come in? Which is a testament to how he's managed to turn things around for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, fair play to him. He stuck at it. He took the abuse. I don't know how these players stay on social media, you know, with the abuse that people send them. It's a testament to him that he just kept his head down. Arteta stuck with him. And, you know, he's, unfortunate to miss the FA Cup, but, he's got a medal.
Absolutely.
So I give him a 8.
Okay, so moving on, we have Callum Chambers.
You're a big fan.
I like Callum Chambers. I thought that he done well when he covered at right back, centre back. I didn't think he put a foot wrong, personally. I'm going to give him a 7.5. Yes, Christmas has come early with these generous ratings, but no, I'll give him a 7.5. I thought he was good.
Excellent. I think 7.5 is exactly what I had in mind, because up until the injury, he was looking like our most reliable defender. And, you know, that injury was unfortunate. So I would give him 7.5 also.
Yeah, I can't remember too much of Callum Chambers' season, to be fair. We had a chat yesterday, and I was a bit critical, but when I thought about it later on, I was like, you know what, I can't even remember what he was like. That was the early part of the season. That seems like a lifetime ago with everything that's gone on in 2020. So, like you say, I'll go with. I can't remember him putting too much of a foot wrong. So I'm going to give him an above average 6. And that's mainly because I just don't remember too much of his season, to be fair.
I remember him from the first game in Newcastle. And from there, didn't put a foot wrong for me. Okay, so the next one is Pablo Mari. Again, like Cedric, came in that window, got injured after the return. So I can't really give him too much of a high rating. But what I saw of him, he's all right. I'll give him a 5. It's not Jamal 4.
Yeah.
So 5 for me.
It's not 4. It's not 4. It's not harsh 4. Yeah. I would give him. It's just I think he only played 3 times, so it's not enough to actually rate.
Yeah.
So I'll just give him. I'll just give him a 5, and I would like to see more of him.
He's a neat player.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
neat. He's tidy.
That's
I'll give him a 5 as well. Too short a time, so I'm just going straight down the middle. 5.
absolutely.
Got to question his pace though. Anyway,
We'll get to that.
moving on. Okay, so Mr. Controversial himself.
Ooh.
Mr. Christmas has come early with the gifts he gives opposition from time to time. It's David Luiz. For me, I like this player, and a lot of people, a lot of Arsenal fans are torn, and a lot of Arsenal fans have forgotten what he was like, pre-COVID, and he was consistent. But a lot of people highlight the mistakes. For me, David Luiz gets an 8 because I think before the lockdown, he was an 8 and everyone was raving about him.
Mr. Marmite. You either love him or you loathe him. He's like, I was thinking yesterday, we talked about this. I was thinking yesterday about he's like a Nicolas Cage movie. So it's either great or what is that? He's over the season, I agree with you. He's been consistent for the most, but he will get those meltdowns at the Etihad, at the Anfield.
Mm-hmm.
Those mistakes is there, but I also appreciate how he's lately is guiding the youngsters. He's a father figure now to people like Saka, Martinelli. I think I agree with you. I would give him an 8, especially how he finished the season. Against Liverpool, he was magnificent. The semi-final and the final can't fault him. When he's focused and he's in the zone and his hair is right.
So you're giving him an 8?
I'm giving an 8. Yes.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8.
I think because of how his personality and people jump on those mistakes too often, but there's a good player there, and Arteta likes him.
Yeah, I would just like him to be a bit more accurate with his long passes. He does these balloon passes, they're up in the air, like, the defender can see them coming a mile away with his binoculars. I like him a bit more flatter, but that's just me being overcritical.
And you have the right to.
But as a defender, when his head is right, and now Arteta seems to have found a system that works for him, and he's got protection either side, he seems to have been shining. So, yeah, I'll give Mr. Luiz, Sideshow Bob, I'll give him an 8. One of our 2 Sideshow Bobs. We're
coming to him.
Got plenty.
Yeah, we're coming to him. But from Sideshow Bob to the bodyguard,
Ozil,
the rugby,
personal,
the rugby player. Yes, Kolasinac. And for me, oh my goodness, don't get me started. Kolasinac is getting a Lord Vader free. He's been poor. He's been woeful. Why is this player still at our club? I do not know. Kudos to you for fending off those thugs. However,
that's not your main job.
That's not your main job.
That's not what you're paid for.
Yeah.
However, your performances on the pitch, my friend, goodbye. Free for me. And that's being generous. That's being kind. Over to you.
3. I think that's way harsh. I think I'll give him a 4. But I agree with you. I just go and see what he brings. He's not effective left back. He's not, we tried him at left back, wing back, left wing almost. It's it's the same outcome, which is poor performances. So a 4.
And you say 3's harsh.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Leroy on this and say 3 for me for Kolasinac. I think it's shocking.
Doesn't he get a point for saving a life?
No, that's not his job. That's not his job. It's not what Arsenal pay him to do. He was, go and be Ozil's personal security guard. You seem to excel at that. You seem to be world class at that. But footballer for Arsenal Football Club, no.
Hell no.
That's a no from me, Bob.
Goodbye. All right, so we're moving on to the midfielders now. And first up to bat
Ooh, that's a harsh one.
is Mr. Casper the Ghost, because we haven't seen him for a long time. And that's Ozil. I'm sorry, but his ratings is going in the realms of Kolasinac, and that's 3, and that's being generous. I'm not even going to speak on Ozil. I'm just giving him a 3.
Yeah.
Poor.
Yeah. I think again, I would give him a 4. Really disappointing because he's the only player that brings that creativity that we desperate for. He's a talented player, but application wise, he's not what Arteta wants, and that's why he shafted him. So I just give him a 4. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, for me, Ozil gets a big round 0. I can't stand that man. I can't stand
Not
that
even
man.
for appearing in the game.
I can't stand that man. I never liked him when he was at Madrid. I didn't see what the whole hoo-ha was about. We've had many discussions about Ozil when he was at Madrid. When he came, we weren't happy that he came, but we thought he's at the club now. We will support him, and our support has been proved to be a waste of time. The man is a shirker, shirks tackles, gets pushed off the ball like he's a little toddler. He doesn't deserve to wear that jersey, and it doesn't. It's embarrassing that everybody's gonna support who they support. They're gonna have their personal favourites, but for me, I can't stand Ozil, and I have a bottle of wine or a bottle of champagne waiting for the moment that he leaves. So he gets a big fat 0, and he can hold it.
So the next midfielder, swiftly moving on,
Yep.
is Lucas Torreira.
Need to get through these.
For me, Torreira will get a 6. I just can't remember what he's done. The games that he's featured in, and I just think what Emery tried to do to him to make him a number 10, I just don't get it. But Arteta is not really featured in his plans. So, yeah, I will give him a 6.5. 6.5.
Yeah, I'll just give him a 5. I knew there was a problem as soon as he's been linked with AC Milan constantly. He's not settled. I don't think he's settled. I don't think he fancies London. I don't think he sees a future at this club. So we have to act accordingly and move him on. And his performances are not of the high level that we want. So I'll just give him a 5, and I think he won't be here by next season.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give him a 5. I'm not a fan of his. Never have been. He came. No, tell a lie. When he came, I was happy that he came. He came with that defensive midfielder sort of
energy
that people that we needed. But having watched him, it's like, you know what, you're not fit to do the job for Arsenal. Maybe if you go to Italy, the way you play might fit in there.
Yeah.
But in the Premiership, he's footballers moved on from that Makelele. You're just going to sit in the back line and protect, that kind of role that he plays.
And Makelele was a footballer as well.
Yeah,
He could
But-
play.
he doesn't. Torreira just doesn't. I'm not sold on him, so I'm going to give him a 5, pretty average.
All right, so
For me.
I'm gonna do combined. So I'm gonna put 2 players. So the first one is Ainsley Maitland-Niles, along with Joe Willock. So first one, Maitland-Niles. Gotta say he's been good for me. He at first I didn't think he was performing, but when he went to right back, I felt that he really done a job. I'm going to give Ainsley 7.5, even close to an 8. 7.5. Joe Willock, he needs to go out on loan. He flattered to deceive in the Newcastle game. It was like, yeah, we think we've got a player there. From then, he just hasn't done anything. So for Willock, 5, and he needs to go out on loan.
Yeah, Maitland-Niles, I like him a lot. I know you have some reservations, but I like him a lot because everywhere that he's been used, he's been efficient. I remember first game of the season against Newcastle, I think he played at right back. He was the best player on the pitch. I would give him the way he finished the season. He lost his way halfway through where he wasn't in the side. But like many of our players, thanks to Arteta, they finished the season strong. So I would give him a solid 7, 7.5. And for Joe Willock, apart from the first 3 games, I'm being generous. The first 2 games of the season, I think he just lost his way. I think he needs a loan. He could benefit from a loan. So I would give him a solid 5. Do you agree with those?
Ainsley
Rating?
Maitland-Niles, I was not a fan of his. Didn't rate him at all. Certainly wasn't. Certainly when he turned up in the Europa League game on the pitch with his chain round his neck, I was like, my thoughts of him went through the floor. And I was like, what kind of nonsense is this? You're carrying on like you're playing Sunday League football down one with scrubs.
Jumpers for goalposts,
Yeah, it's like,
and staff's chained to the fence.
exactly. He's like, come on, behave. But in the last few games where Arteta's played him in different positions and he's excelled, he's lifted and changed my view of him. So I will give him a 7. Joe Willock, he started off well, but he's lost his way. I don't understand why he comes on. I don't know. He just seems to be on the pitch just to waste time.
Headless chicken.
Yeah, I don't understand what he does, why he hasn't been sent out on loan. Maybe that will happen for him next year, but I've been quite unimpressed with his performance this season, and I'll agree with you guys and give him a 5.
Yeah.
And we need to go. We need to.
What I was going to suggest, I think we're going to have to scrap the play for the badge and the bin.
We can still do it, but just go through him.
So just do like you did there to Guendouzi and Xhaka. And so yeah.
Keep going with the audio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next 2.
Guendouzi next, just make it a little bit quick. Yeah. So Guendouzi next.
So the next 2 we're going to do
Yeah.
is Matteo Guendouzi and Granit Xhaka.
Yep.
For me, I'm a fanboy of Guendouzi. I felt that in the Emery period, he was the only one at the time, apart from Aubameyang and Leno, when we needed, someone to lift us. I felt he was trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. It was, it was evident in the Spurs game at home, the Villa game, the Palace game. he was the only one trying to lift the team. So for me, Guendouzi gets an 8, despite what he's done. Granit Xhaka, oh my days. I can go on for days and days, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Granit Xhaka, my goodness, I'm giving him an 8.5 because the way he's come back, listen, the lynch mob was out for him as well as Mustafi. But Granit Xhaka, the way he's turned it round, my goodness, kudos to Arteta on that one. So
what are you going to give him?
I'm giving him 8.5.
Excellent. Guendouzi, I was never really a big fan like other people because there was always, he thinks he's better than he really is. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion, which you see from a lot of young players. But when you look at the substance, that's how you should judge a player, his performances. And the way he fell out with Arteta, that just took a lot of points off. So I would give him a solid. I'm going to be generous just because of the way he started the season. I would give him a 6 because he's let himself down big time. And for who's the Xhaka, the transformation is complete. From the guy that we all used to clown to, the first man in midfield now. He improved all aspects of his game, defensively, passing, had his issues halfway through, but he overcame that. And I would give him a solid 8.
Yeah, Guendouzi. I'll give Guendouzi 7.5. I thought it started off okay for him. Brought some energy. Looked like he was going to be our man in the midfield.
Yeah.
Played well to start off with, but lost his way. Like you say, thought he was better than he was. Thought he was bigger than he was. And that has let him down. He's let himself down. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 for his performance throughout the season. Xhaka, you know how much I dislike Granit Xhaka. I think he's really been quite average for us in the middle of the park. But Mikel Arteta has transformed him into a different player.
100%.
I still think we need to do better than him, but for his performances this season, for everything that he's gone through, I'll agree with you, Lee, and I'll give him an 8.5. I think he's been a credit to himself.
Yeah. So the next two players, so we're going to end off on a midfield player and go into forwards as well. So 2 more players. So one from the midfield, which is Bukayo Saka. And the other one starting into the forwards is Alexandre Lacazette. My goodness gracious me. He's on the same plateau as Kieran Tierney. This guy, 8.5 straight. He's been a revelation. Young sensation and been brilliant. Lacazette, man, I don't want to sound harsh, but his performance over the course of a season, hasn't been that impressive. He's tried, he's huffed, he's puffed, but just, nah. For me, sorry, Alexandre Lacazette, but you get a 6.5. Sorry. Okay. That sounds harsh, man.
Yeah.
All right, 7. He won us the cup. He was part of the cup winning side, but
yeah. Well, I'll start with Bukayo Saka. I think he's been a star for us. For a 19-year-old, 4 goals and was it 11 assists? For a 19-year-old, coming into a shaky defense. So that's just that's So I would give Bukayo Saka a 9. And for Lacazette, I'm a big fan of Lacazette, but he's not bringing the end product is just not there. You know, he's defensively he's okay. His hold up is average, but you know, I would give him a 6 for the season. How about you, Gabs?
Bukayo Saka, I will give him a 9. I agree with you with Jamal. I think he's had an outstanding season, the young man, considering how young he is.
Absolutely.
He flew out of the traps. The fans were right behind him, which brought his own added pressure.
Left wing, right wing.
Wherever he was played, he performed. He brought goals. He brought energy. He brought drive. He brought excitement back. So I'll give the young man a 9. Lacazette, I'm not. You know, it seems like I'm not a fan of anybody that plays for the club. But I just expect so much more if you're wearing our jersey. And I think that Lacazette, you know, people say, yeah, he does a great job up front. But running around and being busy is a minimum requirement as a footballer. Yeah. You know, you don't get extra points for tracking and chasing and harrying. That is modern football. So for him, running around, that doesn't bring him any extra points for me.
And he didn't hit 20 goals a season, like ever.
Well, his goal return ratio is distinctly average.
Yeah.
And what are goals?
Goals are points and prizes.
You know?
Thank you. And they're at a
premium.
Thank you.
Goals are at a premium in the Premiership, and when those chances come along, you need somebody who's going to bang them away.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And we haven't got that. So for me, I will give Lacazette a bang average 5.
So let's do the.
And we're nearly coming to the end of these guys, so that's good.
Okay, so we're moving on to the man of the hour. Oh, my goodness. And someone who came in the summer. So we've got Nicola Pepe and we've got the man of the hour, this saviour, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Please sign. Anyway, I'll go with Pepe. A lot of people, opposing fans have been mocking him, you know, his contribution. But he has come in with assists. It's his first full season. You know, like Gabe said, that the Premiership can be that beast that, you know, can be unforgiving. But he's got used to it. He's worked under 3 managers. Let's not forget that as well. So at the end of the day, I see that he is, you know, getting there. For me, Pepe gets a 7.5. And if I've got to, for this next player, if I give Martinez a 10, this guy gets a 10.5 because he's our saviour. He has been our saviour. Without his goals, where would we be languishing? Over to you.
We would be.
Enough said.
We would be battling positions with, Brighton of this world, But yeah, I think I'll start with Pepe. I think people are looking at his price tag, but I think overall throughout the season, based on his performances, I think I would give him a good 7.
Yeah.
There's more to come from him. And for Aubameyang, what can you say? You know, he's the best striker in the league, one of the best signings we've ever had. I would give him a 10. You have to give him a 10. You know, the season started with him scoring at Newcastle and ended, with the FA Cup victory.
Well, for me, Aubameyang gets a 10. I left 10's the gap for 10. I gave everybody 9.5. I think was the highest. Tierney and Martinez. So I left that space for Aubameyang. Pepe gets a 8.5 from me because I thought I wasn't impressed with him at the start, but that's the whole first season, new boy to the league. But as the season's gone along, I've been more and more impressed with his work rate. Arteta's clearly had words with him and asked him to do more. So yeah, I'll give him a 8.5.
Okay, so
do the 3
we're gonna end with the 3. So the first one is Reece Nelson, the second one is Eddie Nketiah, and the third one is Gabriel Martinelli. All right, so for me, Reece Nelson, may have to be loaned out. Endeavour, yes. You know, hard work, can't fault him. But when it comes to just quality, I don't think it's quite there. I think it's lacking. He may have to go out on loan. So I will give him about a 7.5 because he does track back. I like the way he tracks back. And Nketiah as well, it was good for him to go to Leeds, you know, get a loan spell, and the way Leeds play with the pressing. I see something. I see quality in Eddie. I don't want him to go out on loan again. I want him to stay with the club and learn. Still a learning process with him. So I will give Eddie a 7.5. And this guy, the starlet, future Gabriel Martinelli. So what I will do, I will give him 9. Impact. Hit the ground running.
Excellent. I think I agree with all that you said. I think Nketiah, I'm a little bit unimpressed with him. You know, he doesn't quite know when to release the ball and when to hold it. He's still learning his craft, so he could do with a loan. I would give him a 6. For Nelson, I'm a big fan of Nelson. I don't think he had as much opportunities that he should get at that age. So I'll give him a 7 because he started the season very well. For Martinelli, I'm heartbroken that he got injured because he's a future star of the team, and I would give him an 8. That's how impressed I am with him. Quality player.
Yeah, for me, Reece Nelson, I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he had a pretty steady season. Yeah. A lot of room for improvement. I'm going to give him a 7. No, actually, I'll give him a 7.5. Yeah. I will give Eddie Nketiah a 7 because I think there's a lot of room for improvement for him up front. You know, he can be a goal poacher, but he needs to do more to his game. Does a lot of tremendous work, which is fantastic. But, you know, these guys are young, so I'm not going to be overcritical.
And we're blessed to have these youngsters, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Martinelli, I will give him an 8.5.
We have to also give credit to Emery for including some of these youngsters in the side.
Yeah.
I thought he hit the ground running and was unfortunate to get injured when he did, but it probably was a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Took him out of the limelight and allowed him to get a breather. Otherwise, I think the fans would have been demanding he gets played more than he should have at his age.
Because he's still raw.
Yeah.
So we've done the players. So now the manager. I know we've spoke about him, but what would we give? Okay, all 3 of them, just quickly. Emery, Freddie, and Arteta. What would we give them? We'll start with you, Jamal.
I think I'll start with Emery. I would give Emery a 5 because he just lost. He's not here anymore. He got sacked, and he got sacked for a reason because he lost control of the team. You know, and the performances weren't up to scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, the job was too big for him. So I would give him a generous 5. Freddie Lindbergh, I'll give him a 10 because he came in and did what he had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for Arteta, I would give him a 10.5 for being
10.5 out of 10.
I'll give him a 10 because he exceeded all our expectations because I was worried because of his experience and where he came from that the job would be too big for him, but it wasn't. Made the adjustments that we needed at the right time during game and outside and outside the pitch and off the pitch. So I'll give him a 10.
For me, I'll give Emery a 3. I thought the end of his reign was shambolic, and it couldn't come
the daggers out
anytime sooner.
Lord Vader.
Freddie, I'll give him a 10. Stepped into the breach when we needed somebody to steady the ship. The ship was rocking wildly at the time. The club was rocking from top to bottom. And Arteta, again, stepped in when the club needed him, and I'll give him another 10. And he steadied us and moved us forward.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so this has been the Magic Hat Show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in